Hi, everyone. Welcome to the latest edition of Walter series. I'm Walter Sweat, the CTO for Stadia, and I'm delighted today to be joined by Frederic Vermenouze, the General Manager of Blu Age, one of our new partners. Welcome, Frederic.
Thank you, Walter. Good to be with you.
We're delighted to have you here. Thank you so much. Frederic, in one of the earlier podcasts, I had Bob Ellsworth from Microsoft, whom I know you know, on, and he was talking about that as organizations are looking at alternatives for what to do with their mainframe. They're looking more and more about transformation as a way to get to the cloud. One of the reasons that we at Astadia are so excited that we have this new partnership, we think that jointly we're able to provide all of our more options to consider as they look for alternatives. Could I ask you to describe Blu Age's approach to customers who are looking for those alternatives to their current mainframe environment?
Yes, so that's a very good question, and that's part of the shift we've seen in the past couple of years. Really, what customers want, and they're very much driven by the cloud. So you talked about Bob Ellsworth, Microsoft, but it's also AWS, it's also Google. They're driven to get off their mainframes and go to a modern world on the cloud. And we propose a Rearchitect solution, so an automated transformation, taking your legacy mainframe application to a modern Java or .NET architecture based on the latest frameworks like Angular, .NET Core, Spring for Java. And we accelerate that journey. So with the automation we bring, this is a fast journey, this is a safe journey. The key focus is going to be around testing, but we preserve your existing business logic. So the driver we see for the people who choose the Rearchitect approach is they have quite unique business functionalities, and they want minimal impact on their business user in that transformation process. So we provide those people with a fast and safe way to go to a modern architecture, to go to the cloud, to use managed services on those cloud targets directly from the mainframe world. So we kind of set the foundation for those applications then to be transformed, to be changed, to bring new business feature. But that first step is accelerated, keeping the same the same behavior as the existing system.
That makes perfect sense. And with Astadia's historical perspective of looking at replatforming, being able to do that classic lift and shift, jointly we obviously are excited that we think we now have a very broad base of offerings to provide to customers. Frederic, could I ask you what you think the primary reason would be that companies choose to transform? What really are the overriding goals that you're talking about?
Well, the major goal everybody talks about is cost reduction, and it stays an important goal. With a Rearchitect going to the cloud, we're talking getting from the mainframe to the cloud is going to save 80%, 90% of your annual run costs on hardware and software. So this is quite significant. Also, going to the cloud with Blu Age, you'll be able to leverage the scale in, scale out capabilities of the cloud. So this is really one set of requirements. But I think it goes further. It goes further now. As I said, people are looking for a new foundation, and really the driver for choosing the Rearchitect is. You want to go to Java, you want to go to Angular, you want to get off the COBOL or the PL1 or the legacy languages because you feel more confident for building your new features to already be in that world. And that's what we propose. And also we start getting you into this DevOps, agile world, check in, check out, automated build, automated testing, using Selenium, Protractor. So not only do we transform the application to the modern world, but we start getting all your CI/CD pipeline into a DevOps mainframe, I would say, which answers that ask that customers have to be in the agile world. And what does that bring at the end? Faster time to market. Getting those features out, those new features out much faster for your business user, which is one of the drivers to go to the cloud.
Of course, it can be a seismic shift in terms of how responsive an organization can be if they can start leveraging that, obviously. So one question I wanted to ask was about the project. From the customer's perspective with the Blu Age solution, how do they view that project? How much do they need to participate?
Well, that's a very good question. So, it goes back to this like for like. So customers, when they choose this path, want something that's as fast as possible because, it has an impact for them to the transformation. They have to have some kind of slowdown in terms of new features during the transformation project. So we want to take them there as fast as possible with as little disruption as possible. So, but we'll also with transparency. They what customers don't like is the tunnel. We'll take your code and we'll be back. We'll be back in 6 months. Just believe us, and you'll have a running application. No, so we start very early. We have tooling to analyze the customer's code, and we can share that with them. Blue Insight and very early in the process, we ask for the code. We show them our analysis. We break up the application. We target to do pilots, proof of concept. We take 100,000 lines of code, a batch job, a few screens. We transform them. We test them. We deliver them to the customer. And we're starting to build this relationship with the customer that will continue during the project. The key success to a modernization project is transparency and collaboration. And customers have to provide us their test cases, deliver their test cases. And the proof of concept is a small condensed project where they learn how to do that, and which gets them in a good starting position to be able to work with us, and it's a key to a successful project on time and on budget.
Yeah, having that partnership where everyone is participating and heading to the same goal obviously builds the chance.
Absolutely.
Frederic, you talked about obviously cost savings and some of the agility that can come out of transformation. Are there any other major benefits that you think of that people look at being able to, not worry as much about workforce changes? People start to
Yeah, I think that's also one of the keys. You're going to the new languages, and if I take Blu Age, we're based in Texas, Dallas, and we work a lot with University of Texas, Dallas, and we get those IT masters, IT bachelors, and they came straight out of school, and they know Java, they know Angular, they know all this CI/CD pipeline. Most of them, I would say, not all of them, but most of them have never done COBOL in school. So we're a company. We modernize legacy, but our core knowledge is on the target state architecture. And I think that's the same for companies in the US. We're all competing and getting those good students out of the universities in the US, and they've got a bigger choice. They've got a bigger group of people available. They don't have to train them as much. If you take somebody, sure, you can take somebody who knows Java and transform him into a COBOL programmer, natural programmer, PL1. but I'm not sure it's going to be as exciting for the end user. So I think that's the other driver is the shortage of resources and the greater availability. And it's not just about the language; it's also about the CI/CD pipelines, all the Git, the Jenkins, the tools that you have around code quality, SonarQube, all of that. The knowledge is more around those tools today than tools for COBOL. So I think it makes the life simpler for people who are looking to onboard people maintaining their applications.
I know when I started on the mainframe back in 1973, everything was in all these manuals, and I had shelf after shelf after shelf. And that was the limit of what I could learn. Today, if someone coming out of college something new, a quick search shows them examples of those analysis. What you say is perfect to me. One of the things that I think is always interesting is, as people look at what they're going to do, cost, as you mentioned, is important. And I know it's hard to define average, but could you give me a feel from Blu Age's perspective? What have customers seen in terms of a reduction in cost, in terms of percentage?
Well, for the mainframe modernization, we are on the trend that we've seen with with our partners from the cloud. So, meaning, if you take the annual cost of hardware, software, you're in an order of magnitude about 80, sometimes 90%, I would say, to be on the safe side, more the 80% saving. So quite a significant saving. Then there's the saving, which is a little bit more difficult to get quantification from our customers, is around the people, what we just discussed. But slowly, obviously, you don't need a bigger team to maintain an application once it's been modernized. If you're just doing the same business, the same thing, and slowly you're going to be able to recruit more junior people, at lower salaries than people that were really experienced. And so there's also saving on that side, on the salary side.
Absolutely makes sense. What about the average duration time, if there is such a thing as an average? Are there any ballpark figures that you're able to?
Well, I wouldn't say there's average is very difficult because it really depends on the size of the project. If you have a mainframe with 10,000 MIPS, 10 million lines of code, it's a different story than a million line of code project with 500 MIPS. It's not always correlated. So, but basically, in our business, the main driver in terms of duration of project is the lines of code, because some people, what we do is transform line of codes of a legacy language into a modern and test it, and it's proportional to the number of lines of code. We have projects that range from 6 months to projects that can range over 2 to 3 years. In general, when we get into the longer projects, what we try to do is to have an incremental approach. So, meaning with our Blu Insight analysis tool, we're going to try to break up this monolith and work with our customers to find subdomains that can go live autonomously. So let's say you have a 3-year project, you're going to have 2 intermediate go lives before the end of the project. But with our latest technology, we are already getting to. We just recently completed a mainframe modernization project for a CICS COBOL application with both batch and screens, and this was start to end to go live, something that was completed in 6 months. It was not a huge application in the 1 million lines of code range, but That's to see to show the acceleration, and the key is really the testing. How fast, because the transformation is fully automated. So
yeah, if people have test cases already built, that obviously speeds the process up, right?
yes, test cases that are already known, already automated. And also using tooling around testing. So we have tooling, for instance, Blu Age Compare to do large comparisons, because really we're testing against the existing system. So you run the existing system, then you put the same data in the modern system, and you expect the same outputs. But when you got 1,000 tables at the end of a batch run, you've got to compare those 1,000 tables. You've got 600 reports. You got to compare those 600 reports line per line, making sure that everything is matching. And here we have something called Blu Age Compare, which enables you to give it large number of reports, large number of tables, and it's just going to pinpoint the places where there are mismatches for if there's any fix that's needed.
Automated testing can be such a huge component of a successful migration. We always say that testing is probably one of the most integral parts.
And the other thing, it's also a benefit for the customer, because when you automate it, I was talking about how the CI/CD pipeline going to DevOps. Well, another thing they get out of the modernization, if you've automated the testing, is this set of automated test cases, which they can use as a regression bench going forward for the maintenance of their applications.
That's a huge advantage. Great.
Yes.
I don't know about you. My perspective, and I'm just an old mainframe guy, is that mainframe people tend to be very risk averse. Can we talk about what an organization needs to consider in terms of risk? What are the things that they should be most concerned?
Well, I think one of the things they are most concerned about is performance. You're starting with a mainframe systems that's doing millions of transactions a day, that has a batch window that's going to be 3 hours, and they're very strict about that batch window. They want either to meet it, either to reduce it. And they have doubts about the modern technologies being capable to handle that. And I think the good news is, yes, the modern technologies handle that. Yes, there are, you can see it at, I would say, at the Amazon level, on the cloud. They're handling also the same level of transaction as you would see on big systems. But there are technologies for batch processing. You have Spring Batch in the batch world. There are technologies in the Java world to bring the same kind of level of performance. This is one point where we can reassure them, and the proof of concept is also a way to show them. You have a batch job that you think is really challenging, and where time is really important. So give it to us during a proof of concept. We'll convert it, run it, and show you that in the modern world it can run just as fast or even faster than it was running in the legacy. The other big thing I think for a project for me is testing, and we've talked about that earlier on. It's really important to we are testing against an existing system, and to reduce risk is how to best use the existing system. You were talking about people that already have automated tests. If it's the case, how do we use that to capture test cases? Right. What's the best way? For instance, when we do screen testing, we say, how do you capture a test case on the legacy system? You put a BA on the system. He knows the system. He goes on his green screen, and you record it. You don't ask him to write documents. You capture the data at the start, data at the end. And so try to be clever to leverage that knowledge and try to impact at a minimum again, we don't want to be too impactful on the customer. So really be clever around that. But the important thing is test. You want to make sure, the best projects, as when they go live, is when you've caught all the defects during the life of the project, and the go live goes very smoothly. That's what we want, and
That
that's
is
what we
exactly the
strive.
goal. Absolutely. So, Frederic, in terms of technologies, Blu Age obviously covers a lot of territory. Can you describe for me what types of technologies you worked on beyond just COBOL migration?
So in terms of the systems that we worked on, the IBM mainframe COBOL modernization, and it's not just the COBOL, by the way. It's also the screens, the BMS maps. It's also your JCLs in your batch processing, and also just taking the IBM mainframe. You have all those different types of database. You have your flat files, your vSAM, your IMS, DB2. So we have solutions for all of these, including the data transformation. So taking vSAM and putting it on Aurora or Postgres, and migrating the data. So and the migration of the data is a foundation in the transformation. It's like when you build a house. I always say the data is the foundation of your house. So has to go up front, because then you're modernizing code to an existing structure. So that's one aspect. The other aspect is we've worked with different types of between quotes mainframes. We've done some nonstop. We've done also some Unisys transformation that come with their different types of flavors of COBOL. But we also go further. We do PL1 on the mainframe. That's another language. We do natural database. We have capabilities around natural database, taking you to the Java world. And finally, I would say getting something that's a bit more peripheric. But if you have some Power Builder applications, so applications that were built at the end of the mainframe area, but sometimes they access mainframe database. We also have solution for that, which is to take your Power Builder apps and get them to Angular, to a web re-architected architecture. So lots of different things, but always this common theme of like-for-like transformation, going to a modern re-architected architecture under the hood of the car.
It makes sense. It's funny, I liken it to the Buick commercial. This is not your grandfather's mainframe anymore. When I started, it was COBOL and assembler and vSAM and GDGs, and now I know, and it sounds like for you it's the same as us here at Acadia. We've worked with over 30 different companies on the mainframe, from code generators, screen generators, databases. There is no one mainframe environment that's exactly like other one, which makes it exciting for us to explore all the combinations.
Absolutely, and one of the first projects we worked on in terms of modernization was a code generator. So it's an old one now. It's pack based. That was originally conceived in France before IBM got their hands on it.
Times have certainly changed. So I know that Blu Age supports transformations from more than just Z-series mainframes. Can you talk about, you mentioned Tandem, I think, earlier, but can you talk about some of the other platforms?
ES400? Yeah, the iSeries is something that the focus on the iSeries is something we've seen coming in the last 3 or 4 years. There's a lot of demand on the iSeries, and the iSeries is I would say one of the additional complexities about the iSeries. It's a highly integrated system. On the mainframe, you have, well, it's not always the case, but you have in general better separation between batch, screens, and on the iSeries, it's already a lot of different languages. So you have RPG, you have COBOL, but each of these have different flavors. RPG, there's RPG ILE, Freeform RPG, the original RPG 400. So lots of different flavors, and you see applications that are built and fully integrated with all those languages. So some CL, some COBOL, some RPG, and going leveraging all the features that are on the AS400. So very rich ecosystem on the iSeries, and we bring a fully automated transformation, and we handle all these different blocks. So whether it's CL, whether it's RPG, whether it's COBOL on the iSeries, also the database, the physical files, logical files, the migration of the data to a relational database in the modern world. So something we're very excited about as we see, growing demand. Even if the savings are probably a little bit, the iSeries is not as expensive as a mainframe, but we still see significant savings, and we really get you out of something that's even more, I would say, proprietary than the mainframe. We were talking about the young generation going, more to the Java world. The iSeries, you need to know CL, you need to the RPG. I would say COBOL is more, I would say more up to date than those languages today. So you still find COBOL programs on the RPG, the CL. These are things these are knowledges that I would think are getting rarer and rarer. So a lot of demand, and we're very excited. We have a lot of projects ongoing right now on the iSeries.
iSeries is a big market. I must admit, my wife still doesn't give me all the stuff. I tore early in my career those little 96 on cards where I coded RPG. So yeah, it has its own unique challenge.
Yeah, I've never had the chance to code RPG. I started with IBM, so I did start my career with coding COBOL on Bull systems, DPS7 systems, but never had the chance to do the RPG stuff. So.
Well, but you still have skirt pockets that work, so that's a win.
Yeah.
Frederic, since together Blu Age and Stadia, we jointly can offer multiple alternatives. And we think that's a huge plus as we partner together. How do you help us? How do we feel that we define what approach is best suited for a potential new?
Well, I would say I think we talked about that. For me, it's really about the difference between Replatform and Rearchitect is really what you're going to do with the application also, and who's going to maintain it. One of the advantage of Replatform is you're staying in COBOL. So if you have an existing COBOL system, you have a good team, and you really want to continue to build on that team. Replatforming can make more sense than going to a Rearchitect. If your drive is more to relearn because you want to put it in the hands of a new team, and you want also, once you've done this like-for-like transformation, you want to be able to leverage the digital world, use voice assistants, use tablets, and change the way your UI is behaving, use AI in your application, going to the Rearchitect approach, going to the cloud where all those services are there and ready, and where your developers are versed into that, is I think the better approach. So for me, that's really the key in designing. And customers, customers on the mainframe, they have a lot of applications, and it's maybe not one shoe fit all. So they can choose to take some this way and some this way, and having this broad capability of addressing all their needs is I think something which our partnership addresses. Coming with we've got solutions on all the range of possibilities.
I know that's one of the reasons we at Stadia are so excited about this partnership, and that we can provide the best options for our customers. And that's the bottom. We want them to be successful, and providing what they need, satisfies their needs, is what's going to be successful. So we're truly excited. Well, Frederic, it looks like we're coming up to the top of the hour. Well, I'll close with my last question to you, as I do with most of these podcasts. If people want to discuss what the Blu Age transformation capabilities can do for them, how can they best reach out?
Well, the best way to reach out to us is our website. So it's www.bluage.com, and be careful, it's Blu Age without an E at the end of blue, which is a common mistake we see. But bluage.com, there's a contact page. You can send a question, and we'll be happy to get back to you.
Okay, fantastic. Similarly, from the Estadia perspective, www.com contact page gives you a way to reach out to us. And if jointly we can be of help to any of you who are listening, we'd love to have the opportunity to talk to you. Frederic, thank you so very much for taking the time today. It was truly a pleasure.
Thank you for having me, Walter. It was a pleasure.
Oh, thank you so much. And for everyone who joined us today, thank you for taking the time out of your busy day. And we hope you'll join us on the next World podcast. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.